Good evening, friends. It's great to be in IIT Madras campus, especially a lot of eager young minds for the last 3 days, part of this international symposium on startups. And possibly we are in the concluding part of the journey now, the last 3-day journey. I take this opportunity to welcome my brother Ghanshyam Tiwari from the Samajwadi Party. And very interestingly, he studied in Chennai. So we don't anymore see this north-south disconnect like many politicians keep talking. And professor who's moderating, and my friend from the Congress, C.K. Kumaravelji. I will just take about 6-7 minutes to lay a map of how India was from 1950 till about 2014, just to give a hang of what happened. Then possibly the changes that BJP government, party that I belong to, brought in from 2014. 1951, we had an act called the Regulatory Act of 1951. The same act was repeated in 1956 called the Regulatory Act of 1956. If you go on Google and try and find this age-old time, what is this Regulatory Act? The government told you where you can start a business, where you can locate a business, how much quantity you can produce, where you can sell, what is the distribution network. The government controlled the means of production by a state policy, which we had a Regulatory Act at different era. Then the License Raj came in. For about 50-60 years, we all suffered the License Raj. And if you look at the act that was existent in License Raj, we had acts like Nationalization of Major Bank 1969, Restrictive Trade Act 1969, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973. So the government at that points of time were thinking more on the regulation part, restrictive part. So the government probably overreached by saying, I know what you know, and please listen to me and walk in the road that I am putting for you. And when Modi ji came 2014, when we promised a new era, a new India, when we promised in our manifesto, when we took power, one time, then second time, possibly a third time in 2024, now look at the changes, the transition that has happened. From a regulated country, we have become a country of facilitator. The government right now, the language that it thinks is facilitation, facilitation, facilitation. Unicorn, the startups with about $1 billion valuation and more, you can count with about 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, where in 2014. Right now we are at 107. The third largest country in the world with number of unicorns. US is at 645, 6 times more than India. China is at 322, 3 times more than India. India is at 107. Just look at the quantum leap we have taken in the last 9 years, just because the mindset of government, from a word called regulation, it has shifted to a word called facilitation. The government wanted to facilitate what was happening. But we all know the startup is nothing but a reflection of society. We can't bring some 10 people into a room and say, look, you have studied in IIT Madras, and please go and start a company. Since you studied in IIT Madras, you might have more brain so that your company will be successful. Of course, IIT has got a fantastic tech park. We all have seen it, the kind of magic you do there. But a startup cannot thrive in that system simply because the founder is intelligent, or simply because the founder has gone to a good school, or simply because the founder comes from a great family which has got money to spare for his company. It doesn't work like that. You've got to exist in 5 things. You've got to exist in a word called political, economic, social, legal, and technology. These 5 things defines who you are as a person. Nobody can cocoon himself and say, I'm a product of my own and nothing can touch me. Politics touches you from morning till evening. Economics touches you from morning till evening. Legal touches you from morning till evening. Society touches you from morning till evening. Technology touches you from morning till evening. If everything goes right, politics is not right, the startup ecosystem cannot thrive. And for it to get right, you got to fix a lot of things. You got to fix the school system. You got to fix the college system. You got to fix right up to the patent system. You got to bring this innovation into young minds right at a school level where the basics of a science is taught. Or when they went into an engineering college, you have to teach them that there is more to life than a job. So a lot of fixing has to happen. That is what I think our party, our government has tried to do in the last 9 years. Not only from a facilitator mode, but also get into the mode of fixing up the whole system. As we speak now, India is entering into an era of the new education policy. You tell me which country in the world the new education policy stipulates in a CBSE board, coding should be taught from class 6 to 8. In India, it's compulsory in CBSE schools from this year, May 2023. Coding should be taught from class 6 to 8. Data sciences should be taught from class 8 to 12. Artificial intelligence should be an optional subject from class 8 to 12. Just imagine. We talk about the learning systems of Koreans, the learning systems of Chinese, the learning systems of Singaporeans, where they continuously score very high marks in the world learning outcomes. Now the new education policy is bringing in a change where we don't want just subjects where rote learning is encouraged or we get some marks which will help us to clear some entrance. We are bringing this, the Atal incubation centers. Schools have got platforms. Government of India is facilitating where we want young minds to think. If I ask you a simple question, how many Atal incubation centers do we have? I'll give you the answer. It is 10,050. 10,050 Atal incubation centers are in India right now. 76 lakh students are part of the Atal incubation lab. If you go to the Atal incubation lab website, if you go today, just try and see the 200 best schools. The Government of India awards the 200 best schools every month, which utilizes the Atal incubation lab properly. Last month, Tamil Nadu had 5 schools. Schools in Perambalur, schools in Tiruvarur, schools in Karur, where I was born. Small cities. Meaning the Atal incubation lab has got some technology product. It is being ranked in the top 200. You go to West Bengal state, you can rank all the 200. You see all government schools, Jilla Parishad schools, where the guy is getting encouraged, the girl is getting encouraged, hands-on experience on coding, hands-on experience on learning. If he's interested, more experience on artificial intelligence. In fact, the Government of India is partnering with Microsoft from class 6 to class 8 in the CBSE platform to bring coding here. Then we have fixed up the higher education, no more regulation now, which will, a group of people from Delhi will come and inspect, more like a punishment mechanism. I will say a curtain is not right, toilet is not right, I will not give you a ranking. Now the all India based complete composite ranking. We want to encourage 1 point of the 4-star, 5-star, whatever ranking we are getting. The main ingredient is innovation and technology. That has got the highest marks now. So India is becoming a patent producing nation. We are not a nation which is going to copy from Chinese or the Americans or the Europeans. We are producing original patents. That is why the startup technology park of IIT Madras is a global hotspot now. So higher education we are fixing. Then we are fixing up the ecosystem. The World Bank in 2014, when our government took over, it said, in the innovation index, where was India? If you look at the innovation index is not just an arbitrary number. Innovation comes when the school system is right, college system is right. When the ecosystem is right, only then innovation can thrive. If you look at the innovation where we were, the innovation index, we were somewhere around 81, the global innovation index in 2015. We have jumped to 40 in 2023, a jump of 41 positions. If you look at the World Bank's Doing Business report, DBR, India was at 142 in 2014. We have jumped to 63 in 2019. After 2019, the index is discontinued. We don't have the latest numbers. If you look at the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor 2022 report, it says 83% of India's population perceive they have got the skills to launch a startup. In 2014, in the same Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, it is only 52% they perceive they have a skill. So we are skilling people in crores. We are fixing up the education system. We are fixing up the college modules. And last but not the least, we have got a fund of funds. The Government of India runs a startup fund of funds. The current top-up for the startup funds of funds is 10,000 crore. The Government of India is topping that fund. And the Government of India runs a seed fund. The Government of India is very clear, especially the BJP government is very clear. If we have to hit $5 trillion economy in the quickest possible time, it is only startups which is going to take us there. I see very funny, my friends from opposite political spectrum, they say, oh, India is not a 4 trillion. There was a discussion 2 weeks back. Yes, India hit 4 trillion because we don't calculate a real-time GDP number. People from other parties said, no, we didn't hit 4 trillion. Somebody said we have hit 4 trillion. Yesterday, Raghuram Rajan ji, a former economic advisor, he says, India is not going to hit 5 trillion in 2025. Now, this is the conversation now. We are talking of a country which can hit 5 trillion in 1 year. It took 40 odd years to hit 1 trillion. 70 odd years to hit 2.5 trillion. We are talking of a country where the youth of this nation has come out in large numbers, very hungry, very angry also. They want to create systems of their own, create global businesses. We are talking of one economic advisor saying, right or wrong, is saying, how can you hit 1 trillion in 1 year? We are talking of a possibility. 1989, when you look at the global map, we all know which countries, they have the technology in hand, they are the superpowers. Netherlands, 17th century. United Kingdom, 19th century. The Americans, 20th and 21st century. If you look at the 1989, the Fortune 500, the top 10 companies, 6 were in Japan, 4 were in US. Japan had more than US in 1989, the world's valuable company. 2023, if you look at the world's valuable company, 9 are in US. Nothing in Japan, nothing in Japan. Why? The democracy is failing. You have prime ministers every 9 months. You have just yesterday, the Japanese parliament diet, you must have seen 3 cabinet ministers getting resigned over a corruption allegation. When you don't have a stable democracy, when you don't have a stable government, a powerful government, which can take risk on behalf of the population, we cannot see this magic that has happened in the last 9 years. My humble submission to this August gathering is, India is thriving, India is evolving, India is hungry, just because you have given us a stable government, you have given us a powerful government, which is not looking at the other partners. 273 plus, one party has cleared. That is the magic that is happening. 1989, 6 out of 10, the world's most valuable companies in Japan, right now not there because the democracy is failing in Japan. So this, I see the beauty of India. The next 5-10 years, the possibility I see is Indian companies, Indian startups, not only unicorns. Now, we are talking of a number called 107. Yes, the Americans are 6 times more. The Chinese are 3 times more, but it's a matter of time we are catching up. Because the kind of research outputs, the patents we are producing in our country, the kind of academic freedom this country is getting, I think it's a matter of time before you are going to catch up with Chinese, the original patents. Maybe about 15-20 years, we will overtake US as a country with a technology powerhouse. Again, if you look at Americans, the lesson to be learned for political parties like us and other political parties also. Americans had the grasp of technology of the last 40 years. Digitization they had, the Internet of Things they had, evolvement of Internet happened in America. So they had the grasp. Very minutely if you look, possibly the Americans are having a grasp of technology the next 40 years also, which we say the artificial intelligence and the bioengineering, again the Americans are having a grasp. If you look at 2023, the venture capitalist money that went into US for artificial intelligence alone is $26 billion. 8 times lesser is Chinese, 12 times lesser is India. We are looking at a country in 2023, $26 billion just got poured into this country in 1 year for artificial intelligence. We are 12 times below. So that is a lesson to be learned. Democracy has to be good. Parties have to come to power on their own with a larger vision, with a majority of their own, which India is right now. We're very fortunate to have Modi ji. And more importantly, you fix up all systems, the school, the academic systems, the risk-taking ability in the society. People have a larger aspiration just than getting into a safe government job. That's why I was very fortunate to sit here, sir. Normally we get into government jobs workshop. Group 1, Group 2, UPSC. Since I'm an ex-cop also, many a time the invitation that comes to me is to talk about government jobs. Please motivate our people to get into government jobs. I feel very fascinating and feel happy to sit in IIT Madras. We are talking of an unsafe job, which is a startup. But for me, this is the safest job in India now, because a startup guy cannot fail in this new India. You cannot fail. The system is getting right. The political system, the economic system, the social system, the legal system, the technology system, and everything is getting right. How can a startup guy fail? So welcome to this great new India. I'm very sure in the coming times, in the next 10-20 years, we'll keep seeing the names here. The global corporations from India, people getting into billions of dollars, people getting employment for thousands of people. I'm sure it is possible. It is a certainty. We just have to get our politics right, and people who lead us also should have that larger vision, like my friend Ghanshyam Tiwari was telling, that we should have the larger vision. Think about country as a whole. Think about the larger possibility, risk-taking culture in our country. It's only a matter of time. I'm sure it will happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.